Hello tutors, it's me Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. I don't know why I had to take the glasses off then, just to prove it was me. I think you've seen this potato head enough over the years to know who I am. I was going through a couple of my really useful boxes that I keep the majority of stuff dust free and things that I might either just enjoy my collections, as I call them, or even gaming figures and whatever, and also just like my 40k and Horus Heresy and stuff like that. Not that I've got a lot at the moment, but they're all dust proof. And I've been thinking of scratch building another ship in the up above the Ukrainian flag on that box up there, the cardboard box. That's got the Black Rover in. It just fits in. And what I'm still working on her, but I've always been disappointed because I didn't have any plans. Obviously, it's morphed all over the shop. Yes, you can see it's roughly a Rover class tanker, but there's no scale to it properly. And I fancied. I got into only about 6 months ago, probably. He's still alive. I don't mean that in disrespect. I just mean he's in his 80s now. Philip Reed, and he's a very well-known, what we call extreme miniature shipbuilder, scratch building, everything scratch built, and I mean everything. And he's obviously well known for his sailing ships, particularly his men of war, but he also does World War II, slightly larger in scale. I think his ships are 32 feet to the inch. I'm saying inch because he works old school. I mean, he's been doing it since the 70s. And obviously following him, you get to know other well-known scratch build ship makers. And one of they always say he's probably the best, was Donald McNary. And if you put him in, fantastic. And he does a lot of military sailing ships, but he does a lot of civilian and ships. Well, I like particularly like clippers and barks of the 1840s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And I've got a couple of books on them and things like that. And I'd like to do a clipper ship. And I was just a bit stuck first. So I've been getting different books. I've got one more coming, which funny enough was written in the 1960s, and it's how to build a clipper ship. Well, if I can't build one from that, and it's the Cutty Sark. Well, I know I can get plans for the Cutty Sark and even just scalp them off. To be honest with you, scalp them off the internet to get a build plan and shrink them down, because I want to do extreme miniature. I don't want to do a plank on frame build like a lot of the guys do, because I just don't have the physical space to display those ships. I just don't. But the extreme miniature ones are like 5 and 6 inches long. I'm going in inches again. I'll probably be talking in mils when I actually do it, if I do it. So yeah, that's what I was hoping to do, and I've been getting information over the last few months and buying second-hand books when I've got the money, like £3-4. I've just bought McNary's book, which he did in the 50s and redid it in the 70s, and I couldn't find any reviews on it. And in fact, can I get it? Let's just no, don't, because I've got a box of things there that I want to show you in a minute. They'll all go all over the place. And was I disappointed? I knew that he took each of his models, but he was more or less saying where he got the plans from. I was hoping, and a couple of people said, "Oh, you get some good build tips and that." I don't find no build tips in it. He's just saying where he got the idea for each ship, which is no help to me whatsoever. So, and I paid £7 for that one. Curse you, eBay. I try and buy as cheap as I can get. So that was in the back of my mind, and I was going through I was actually hunting down a 40k figure that I painted a while ago, Horus Heresy Space Wolf figure. A couple of you might remember him. Do you think I can find him? Because I've got this other little channel which hasn't got no videos on. I'm planning to do some videos on that type of stuff, which I'll put on a separate channel. And I came across my box of Langton sailing ships. They're wargaming ships, but you can do them just for display if you want to. They're lovely little ships, white metal sails, unless you get the brass photo etch sails. Fair few of mine are brass photo etch. I stopped doing them probably about 8-9 years ago. There are some on the channel. Well, I started them on the channel. It's literally when I had an overhead lamp, reading lamp, and so if you go right back into the dim distant past, you'll probably find them. But they come white metal. I'm looking down. I've got them here because I've just remind myself. They come white metal in kit form, in the sense of you get the hull. You have to put which I'll show in a minute. You have to put the stern gallery on the back, and then you put the white metal masts in. Yes, Gav, it's the same ship, and the white metal sails. But you can use the instead of having the white metal sails, you can get, sorry about the dogs barking outside, photo etch for it, and you get photo etch rat lines as well. Well, just before I stopped making them, I'd done a swap with a YouTuber years ago. Just as I got into this, he got some Langton sailing ships, and I got some bags of soldiers I wasn't using. And I didn't. Well, we didn't do a swap. I just sent him to him because another lad says, if you still got those, this other fella could use those. I went, yeah, I'll send them on, because he'd sent them to me. Long story. And out of the blue, he sent. Well, he said out of the blue. Yeah, I think it might have been out of the blue. He sent me, knowing that I do these Langtons. He thought he could get into them, and then never went any further with it. So he sent me some up. I also bought some on eBay because they're not cheap. No white metal stuff is these days, and I even think they might have the lady in the Langtons themselves. They might have even retired. I'm not 100% sure. I might have got that wrong. But I just thought you might like to see the painted ships, built ships that I've already done. I bought their How to Rig Your Ship book, and it's with thread in that, and I did absolutely no way. You'll see it. It's not Victory. I think I call her Royal Sovereign, but she's a first-rate 100-gun like HMS Victory, and I did her in trying to do the cotton thread, and it was appalling. And I'd seen somebody use brush hairs, and I thought that's the way to go. But I thought, especially gaming them, I never did have gaming them, just like everything else. I'll go for plastic brush hairs. Now I look back now, and they're quite rigid when I look through the box. But we'll see it in a minute. See what you think. But I might go back to like flexible brush hairs. I use like an old pasting. Well, not an old. I literally bought a pasting brush to cut brush hairs, whatever you want to call it. Bristles is the word I'm after. So I just thought I'll turn the camera around, we'll have a look. I'm constricted on the bench, I haven't got the overhead camera, so I'm hoping I can get all the ships out and on this tiny piece of cardboard. I've got no names on the ships, classic Gav, and I tended to go for names that weren't, because you can buy name ships off them. I take it they've got a particular look to them. I'm no expert. I just went for, and the person I bought some of the eBay ones off, he's got like Warrior here, so I know HMS Warrior is a sailing ship, and I think he's got Belle Isle, and they may well be name ships, but I was given, I remember one, I don't know how that's popped into me, at HMS Ripon, new as a and they're all French and British by the way at the moment. I was getting around to getting some Spanish, and yes, for my American viewers, some Americans as well. You didn't win the War of 1812, 14. At the end of the day, it was all shut up in the ports. Yes, New Orleans, but you try walking through a swamp for God knows how many days to attack New Orleans. It ain't no picnic. Let it go, Gav. Let it go. So we'll take a look at these in the packet just to show you what you get. And you might want to go on the Langton site yourself. As I say, I can't remember. I'm doing a disservice to say they might have retired. I don't know. Heatwave in the UK, very tired. Pop, I've got a pop who just can't stand it, who's fast asleep downstairs on the cold tiles at the moment. So forgive me, I've got a more shredded brain than normal. Let's go down to the bench and take a look. Right guys, this is what they come in. You'll get a hole first. I'll flip it open in a minute. So the eBayer, the guy who sold these years ago, has put obviously Warrior on there. So this is what you get. Very small amount of cleanup on. I won't go through all the names. For once I actually remember a fair amount of the names, but you see you get gratings in there. These are the cats for the anchors. I can't remember, I don't believe you get anchors in them, and I always said that. I'm surprised they didn't put anchors on these. Well, I'm going to attempt to really, in my own usual way, make more of them. They don't need it, they're beautiful ships, but yeah. So that's your stern gallery. It's upside down at the moment, but it plonks on the back there. Obviously this is a third rate ship of the line, so she's a 74 gun. You can get them with ports open and closed, I believe. These bits, I don't know. We're not getting a very good view for the tubes here, Gav, are we? No, Gav, you're not. Obviously, holes for the masts. These lumpy bits that you see here, just about. I'm not going to take them out of the bags, tubes, only because they'll be floating around. You know what it's like, and I've got several bags of these, and I don't want to get them all confused. Ship's boats. Quite often with the ship's boats they tow these, or they'd fill them with water actually on board the ship just to stop them drying out and leaking. But oh sorry, yeah, the lumpy bits, they are hammocks that are spread over the wire. Well, it's not wire, I think it's well, over the bulwarks anyway. And in time of fighting they help keep some of the splinters down. And then other times they threw them out there to keep them aired and scrubbed off. So there you go. You'll see my ships better anyway. I've got a whole host of painted ships for you to have a look at. And these are the white metal versions. Again, if you felt so inclined, you can make them out of brass if you wanted to. But I've decided I'm going to have a look at, there's not a huge amount you can do because they're quite small. But I did these years ago when I didn't have as much, what am I saying, bigging myself up here, as much skill as I do now. Yes, Gav, you said it. Everybody's laughing. These are some resin bases. These came with the eBay ones, I think, because I'm not sure if I've ever bought resin bases. I might have just made my own. I honestly can't remember. We'll have a look when we get them out. So what have we got? Have we got anything? They've got code numbers there. They don't actually, you know, I've been scrabbling in my head to give you the scale because somebody's going to say, what's a scale, Gav? But I honestly can't, I can't remember. It's my head, sorry guys, you know what it's like. I'll do the usual, if I could find my pencil. So that's roughly anyway what you get. Obviously there's a stern gallery, as you can see, upside down. It goes on the back there. Now I'm thinking Mamara Charlie, oh, he probably won't get halfway through this video, he'll probably skim it. Yes, you, yes Charlie, you skimming my videos. I don't know if he does, but this is Hero. Another third rate by the look of it. As I say, I've not got any with the guns actually run out. I mean, sometimes I used to run them out just for, that looks like a frigate's, sail set. They used to run them out just to give them some room below decks during, you know, as in when they're sleeping and stuff like that. Triumph. Now, whether these are, I'd have to go and check the codes. I don't know if these are name ships or if this guy's just put the names to the ones, that's what he wants to call them. That's nice, we've got some bow chasers there. A lot of these top guns you'll see on here would be carronades, they're nicknamed the Smashers, and they are blunt nosed. They they chuck a short range but a hell of a lot of lead, or iron, what am I saying, lead, iron towards the enemy ship, and it can really upgun a smaller warship. A lot of frigates start to go over to cannonades. The only problem is they don't have a massive range. That might be a frigate. I would suggest she is. Could have been one, either one I've already got still left over. Again, I'll have to go all through the. I'll actually write my own stuff on these because I don't know what's what. You see how old some of these are. We've still got facts on them. I mean, you can get 3D stuff of these type of ships now, and I believe that they do American Civil War. They do, if I recall, the Dutch Wars. You know, which the Britain fought with the Dutch in like 1680s? No, not 1680s. Because I don't know, when they went up the Medway and things like that. Medway's a river in the UK. Down in Kent. These are ratlines, brush shrouds. You can see those. I never used to heat treat these, and I never got them to fit properly, which is all down to me with no skill. But you know, I've lasted these about 8-9 years ago, I think. So I'd have thought, hopefully, my photo etch bending and everything has got slightly better. And this is quite early photo etch, really, if you think about it. But I think with a heat, put a heat source over them, you know, pass a lighter or something, get them to conform better. Now that's it, I believe. I've got the box down here. Just give me 2 seconds. Let me just check one last time. Yep. Oh, I've got some. It's amazing when you look down. A couple more bases, which no one's shown you, but more ships' boats, which you can have alongside, which I will be doing because I just want to really knock one out of the park, if that's the right word. Now we've got some French colours there. A lot now. I just make my own, but I believe, and it could have even come with the eBay ones. I'm not sure. But that's a French paper you just obviously stick together like most war games. Now, what might be confusing, still confusing to my brain, what might be confusing is you'll see an ensign here and it's blue with the Union flag on. We have, several in there, we have Admiral of the Blue, Admiral of the White and Admiral of the Red. And that's seniority. Now, I used to know all this off by heart, and I cannot for the life of me remember which one is more senior than the other. I believe Admiral of the White might be the, the White Ensign, and that's so that flag gets flown by the seniority of the Admiral. Right, I'm going all over the place, aren't I, Tubesters? Give me a couple of minutes, or a second for you guys, and I will get the ships on the table. And we'll have a look. Right, Tubesters, thanks for joining me at the bench. I'm scrambling around now looking for a pointy. What happened to the pencil? Oh, it's under 10 ton of ships. Right, for some unaccountable reason, the frigate, this is a frigate, and I haven't put any ensign flying on that. And I can't for the life of me remember if this is a French or a British one. I think she's British, but I'm not 100% sure. I've gone there with the yellow gun ports. It's always said that Nelson, when he was in the Mediterranean as an admiral, started the trend of painting the gun ports, but some did and some didn't. As you can see, they're quite straight. The running rigging here, that's the buff one. It's quite straight because they're all bristles that are plastic bristles cut up and painted. I'm just wondering, I might actually twist some wire and have a go at doing it like that. these are the bought bases. I thought I might have done my own, but they are the bought bases. I think I might have put a bit of extra putty on some of the early ones just to raise the waves up. Now we've even got the seagulls. You'd think I'd live near them. We're actually right in the middle of the UK and we get seagulls. The black rigging, that's standing rigging. So standing rigging, that is always fairly rigid. Well, it is rigid. It's tarred normally, and that is to keep everything in place from masts falling over and whatever. And the running rigging is obviously stuff that's you're hauling the sails and the spars and that. That one's obviously, that's the one I did with the as you can see, it's all over the shop really. I think I did this as Royal Sovereign as an 80 gunner. I'm not sure. It could be 100 gunner. But she's a first rate. I'll pick a ship where you know you can actually see down to what they look like. Again, no names on these, and I forgot I actually magnetised all these as well at some point. A French one, third rate, I believe. I believe these are the could be the white metal sails, but if you notice there's no, these are called anchor cats, and these are the heads, the toilets at the front. The blue that you see on some of the ships, it's very expensive, and you had to have deep pockets as a ship captain because you would pay for that yourself. You wouldn't be getting that from the dockyard. Even the actual yellow paints and that, a lot of the times captains would have to pay for their own extras, if that makes sense. So it depended how successful you were to how you tarted your ship up. There's the stern windows. She's got some lamps over the side by the look of it. It's been ages since I've actually had these out the box. Now I'm not going to get all these in because I can't get my camera any farther back. So we'll go with what we can. My life, trying to get these out of magnets, I really thought of this because the bases are so thin. Trying to get them off a magnet sheet. With a nice little frigate here. And quite often the American ships would be painted with white masts. I can't believe this. I've actually tied this one off as well. I thought I had only done the one, but I've obviously done this one as well. Yeah, that's thread, as you can see. Didn't get any better particularly, because a lot of these would be slightly loose. It depends on how the sails are, working. But it was actually turning it was getting the actual. It was getting the actual knots to not look ridiculously oversized. I tried with this, let me see, so I have to keep putting it down on the floor of the box with the other ships in. No, for the life of me, as I say, I used to know all the terminologies. These beams going across, that's on the deck there, that's all open below, and you would, where you see the ship's cabins here is probably, you most know, there'll be guns, stern chasers, stern guns in the captain's cabin and below, because the cabin wasn't really a cabin, it had shutters across. If you ever watched Master and Commander, you'll see them taking, literally, as they go to quarters, as it's called, so action stations for want of a better word, they literally, they collapse everything. So where you have like officers' quarters and stuff like that, they literally get taken down. You know, they're all, it's all one deck all the way through once they're taken down. Apart from obviously the, and bearing in mind the masts go all the way to the keelson at the right down at the base of the ship, and obviously held in by big blocks normally. But yeah, I've gone to a bit of a expense there and put some blue on the back and some on the front. I try to read up on as many sources as I can. So yeah, these will quite often have ship's boats on the top of them. I can't see any boats on there, so I imagine that you can put your own on if you want to, but I wanted just to show some, you know, as if, you know, you have got crew that are walking underneath them. The guns weren't always painted. You often see them painted red, and you often see the inside of the bulwarks painted red, and it's often said they're painted red because of the blood. You know, when the ships were hit, it didn't look so bad, and I think that's a bit of an old wives' tale, really. It was just, they had the paint and painted it. This one's got bulwarks painted. I'm told that some of the French ships had their gun trucks painted very light green. You see I've painted red inside. You can see ship's boats on top. Some of them are already pre-moulded on, as I say, and then others, if you wanted to put them on, you'd have to buy a packet of loose like I showed you earlier. But these were with the bristles on. I mean, across a table or whatever, they don't look too bad actually, but I might go for a more synthetic hair type bristle for the running rigging particularly. I did better on some of the photo etch wrap lines and that than I did with others. We've got another French. In fact, I've got a couple of French ones to show you. Now she's painted a bit differently. Again, that was a source, and you know, now I couldn't even tell you what ship or whatever, but a source had said like some of the French ships were painted with this red streak across, and that's what I went for on that. That's a little walking gallery for the captain normally. That's his little bit of space. Nobody else is allowed on that unless it's a sailor to clean it. As you can see through there, you can see the ship's boats. And yeah, you can tell I've painted the gun trucks green on that one. Again, it's just the Langton book it's just a little it's in a ring binder. I should have shown you that really. And that is a really nice book because it not only does it show you how to rig them, it gives you ideas as well, but obviously you go off and have a go on this by yourself as well. That one I've obviously just made my own colour for ensign. And she's actually run out on those, I think. Yeah, I think that's the only one I've got with the guns run out, I believe. So I've put her as in fighting mode. Quite often if they were going into battle, whichever country, they would literally put ensigns all over the ship. And quite often they would literally like go out onto the bowsprit and nail an ensign, literally nail one in, because what they didn't want to do is if you're you see the French would fire, when they did a broadside, they'd fire directly into the British hulls, which would demount a lot of guns, kill a lot of the crew, and hopefully then they'd board them. The British went for a different method of, yes, they would fire into the hull, but they'd mainly try and get your masts and sweep the deck, obviously, with anybody, and everybody would get trapped under, you know, if not killed by splinters and falling rigging. Well, if your masts and rigging come down, then your colours come down as well, and if you haul down your colours, obviously you're surrendering. So they would quite often, literally, that's what you get, nail your colours to the mast. These look like photo etch, I believe. Yeah, they are. See how thin they are? photo etch sails. But yeah, I think that's the only one that I've seen out of this whole lot. I was disappointed with the anchors though. I never understood why they didn't mould on, because a sailing ship's anchors are massive, and they're, you know, they really are a big thing of the ship. So and I did at the time try and make some, and I was even worse at scratching than I am now. But I would definitely scratch build anchors on the one I'll do. I mean, I look now and sometimes I think, well, them plastic bristles aren't too bad. They are though a bit straight. I know there's some wind going into the sails there, but yeah, I might try another method and do a bit better as well when I've put the, obviously good because you've got to fill them in, just make it look a bit better as well. I think that's nice because they've got the big lanterns over the back. See the gun ports on the under the stern as well. And I've done her just in a slightly lighter ochre. It's coming almost white through the thing. I had to double check then. Later on, the Royal Navy did go to painting its ships white simply because it was cheaper. The Americans always painted theirs, as you know. If anybody goes and checks Constitution out, they always did have white, but we went to white later on. We might have even had white in the days of the Napoleonic, but I don't think so. I think they're all ochre mainly, some reds. No, these are last two now. I know you're losing the will to live, but I just wanted to show you how small they can get, and these are some of my favourites, because I was a big fan of the Richard Bolitho's book series that started in the 70s or 80s by a guy, I think he's passed away now, Alexander Kent. And there was one where he was in a cutter, and this is a cutter. Doesn't have a ship's wheel, you can't tell that. Something else I would have done. She gets a tiller. And she's got a red ensign there, as you can see, because she'll be under the command of that particular admiral. And these were used for patrol work, for customs work, scouting, and a lot of time taking messages. And they'd often be battling, you know, privateers, whether French, Spanish obviously had them as well, but Americans obviously had a lot of privateers. And a lot of French privateers operated out of American ports. You know, as long as you had a letter of marque from that government, you could do that. And here we have this is a nice little one as well, French one. As I say, some of my rigging work was fairly agricultural, to say the least, but these are tiny. Again, use the old pencil analogy. If we just do it from there, that's the length of the hull, and obviously they've got, on these particular, they've got long bowsprites. Never gamed these once. If we sat in a box, but I just thought, yeah, I'm going to give it another go. I used to know all the rigs, sailing rigs. I just can't remember. My head wasn't as bad then. It was going, but it wasn't as bad. So guys, I'm sorry to waffled on. I just got these out and I thought, you know what, I might actually build one of these. I've been going on about it for ages. You know, I mean, I've got a few to go there, you know, to have a go on. So I might do another one just for old time's sake. Until I get my clipper ship. Well, I mean, it'll get built one way or the other. Just have it as yet another side project. But yeah, I can't remember if they're 1 in 2. I honestly can't remember, guys. Stupid Gav again. No, it's no point. I was looking around to see if there was something I could quickly grab and let you know. But so there they are. Not a huge amount for for all the years they've sat magnetised in a box. But yeah, I enjoyed doing them at the time, and I enjoy. I might well enjoy doing another one. As I say, I'd like to think I can get them slightly better. I mean, I look back now and I don't think I did that much of a bad job of them. But I might just, you know, colours and stuff, and getting the wrap lines to actually fit all the way up and not have any brass exposed on them and things. There's little things I'd do differently, but yeah, nice models, nice ships. They do larger versions in a couple of larger versions in, I believe, resin. You know, for more display purposes. But I mean, these are just these as extreme model ships, you could call them, compared to, see, like the Black Sea range now, which is 1 in 700. These are a lot smaller. I mean, you're talking, let me just get a rule out, you're talking the little French cutter is, not taking the bowsprit in, it's about 3 inches. It's just the French third rate, I believe, is 6 inches roughly. Yeah, about 6 inches, and that's not including the bowsprit, that's just obviously the hull. So yeah, you know, they're not huge, don't take a lot of room up. As always with Gav's major concerns. I've not been very good getting the sea colouring right, and they could have probably done with it. Sometimes I often think, you know, a bit more of a gloss varnish on the sea, just to bring them up a bit. But yeah, we'll see what, might do another one. It'll be white metal sails, because I don't have any brass sails, I believe. So yeah, I just thought I'd show them off. So you take care of yourselves. If you've stuck it this far, thank you very much. It's just something a bit different, and I thought you might just want to take a look at them. So look after yourselves, and we'll catch each other soon on another video.